This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
Hello, yes, this is The Basketball Show. I'm Joe Healy. This is Shane Hill, all thanks to TCL Mobile, 2K and Bet with Joel. Hammer, how are you? Happy Easter.
Very well, thank you. Same to you. And how good is I love this time of year.
Because you can eat your weight in chocolate over a weekend.
That's a lot of chocolate. No, I definitely didn't do that. I drank it, but I didn't eat it. I love this time of year because we're getting the money time in the NBL and we've got NBA playoffs. It's all happening. I love it.
It's very exciting. Plenty to get through this show as well.
Yes.
Just very quickly though, don't forget our TCL Mobile competition. You and your family can win tickets to the final of the FIBA Women's World Cup. Great prize. What's the criteria again, please?
Just give us a video that entertains us. Trick shots or something funny.
Hashtag TCL trick shots. Send it in. We'll go through them and we'll start playing some of the videos out probably next week and then come up with a winner.
Have you been practicing your game?
I had a couple of shots down at Wynn Entertainment Centre last Wednesday.
Okay.
But no, haven't picked up a ball for a while. That comes because the Sydney Kings have announced their charity game for this year. We missed it last year because of COVID, but before we get into it, here's a reminder of 2 years ago.
Let's just get ourselves, get some shots up, get warm, and when the bright lights come on, good things will happen.
Every time you're open and you're at the three-point line, if you don't think you can hit a three, take a dribble in and shoot it. I want to shoot the ball before we turn it over.
One of the advantages, if you look down there, that we're going to have is we've got a fair bit of height. So with both teams, I've split up a couple of bigs. If you pass, cut, or set a screen on somebody, and then space it out, big fellas stay close, get it into them, and play. Crash those boards though, because there'll be a lot of missed shots.
If all else fails, just give the ball a shot.
Yeah. Hammer on three. 1, 2, 3, hammer!
He's going down today, baby.
10.
Yeah, baby! There we go. Get to our spots. Shoot that, shoot that.
Who's going to be the key for your team to get the win?
I reckon Joe Healy. I reckon she's going to get on a little bit of a roll right now. Couple in a row. There she is. Hit that. Did Joe Healy just step out of bounds? She stepped out of bounds. And she's on the basketball show. You are kidding me. Yeah.
You gonna call those now? Now you gonna call those?
Shot, go get it. Hit that, that's your shot. All day, all day. Everyone in purple.
We're number 2.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe that. If you step out of bounds, I'm going to get you removed from the stadium.
I didn't need to watch that again. It brings back bad memories.
Now, this is the winning team. This is our team.
Okay.
Ben Fordham, yourself, Dan Ewing, he's come with the strength this year. Nick Kyrgios, you better get your ass down, Nick. Play some defence, all right? Bring that flair, but play some defence. Chock Mundine, do whatever you want, Chock. Not arguing with you, brother. And Jamie Sauer.
That's a solid team.
We've got a great team. Carfino's going down again.
What about Team
No
Carfino?
idea. Oh, I don't know. I don't care. I have no idea.
Oh, come on. Not a clue.
I have no idea who's on that team. You tell us. Who's on it?
All right, Dom Perrottet is captain. Whipper's
got him
on the
covered.
team. He'll be a good trash talker, I reckon.
Whipper's good.
Yeah, Brad Rosen is going to be their secret weapon. I wonder if he's still
He's
got
not
it.
as quick as he used to be.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And Belinda Russell as well, the dance queen.
Okay.
So I think
Mate,
it'll
they
be
got
fun.
no chance with that. Surely they got more than that.
It'll be fun anyway. That's this Sunday. All for a very good cause too.
Certainly is. Get along and support it, donate.
Yep. All right, let's do this. All right, the Perth Wildcats. I think we tipped them to have 2 wins over the course of the last weekend, get some momentum heading into the finals. They went down to Adelaide in a bit of a shock, and they did bounce back and beat Cairns convincingly. But
They weren't good against Cairns.
Are they still a threat? They really are
They're
struggling.
always a threat. Vic Law's injury is a massive concern because
Yes.
even with Vic Law, I like these uniforms, by the way, the
Yes,
throwback,
yeah.
40-year anniversary. Well done on that. But they've got problems. And Damian Martin on the telecast outlined it about their lack of defence, their lack of intensity. And they came out exactly like that in the first quarter again. They have problems to be able to start. They need to find some solutions because they are a long way behind the top three.
It looks like they're going to be playing Melbourne United in that semi-final series.
Yeah.
Where do they match up best against United?
Well, you're struggling to find areas because Bryce Cotton's obviously the key to it.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got Dellavedova and Shea Ili, two of the best defenders. They took him out of the game a couple of weeks ago. So they got problems. They're not beating Melbourne United in a 3-game series.
Yeah, okay. The JackJumpers, 16 wins for the season. They keep going from strength to strength to the point where they mathematically are still in the running for the top 4. Credit to them.
They've been awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way they're playing. Just so much passion. They came from behind. They were down like 14, 15 points in the second quarter. But you just never wrote them off because of the way they play and the belief and the passion. You know, Scott Roth's done a terrific job and he stays with them on the defensive end. Jack McVeigh, he was exceptional.
Melbourne United, on top of the table. They're going to take on either Perth or the JackJumpers potentially. Can anyone stop them at this point?
Yeah, but maybe not Perth. But they can be stopped. I mean, we've seen it because Illawarra's had the wood over them over the last month. Mm-hmm. Illawarra's beaten them twice down there. And they're okay against a depleted Brisbane lineup, but, you know, they only came through at the end. So there was aspects that weren't great from Melbourne United. And sometimes it's hard. You get to the end of the season, you know, you're fighting for top spot, but playing against an under sort of strength team, they looked different. They came out different, as did the Sydney Kings, by the way, is compared to when they played against Perth a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You could tell they were focused. So you expect them to be ready to go next week.
You mentioned the Kings. Their winning streak came to an end at the hands of a tough Adelaide outfit. Shout out to my Adelaide boys as well.
Yeah.
Just digging deep at the end of the season. They've not had a great run, obviously, but I think they're walking with their shoulders back, chest out, feeling pretty proud of themselves
and
at the moment.
CJ trialling some young guys too. I like that. And they came to be able to play and just spoiled the party for the Sydney Kings. They'd won 7 on the road.
Everyone was pretty gassed. You could see
tell.
that.
They just didn't come out with that energy. So, you know, that's not going to hurt them at all. Well, it hurts them. They're not going to get top spot. But it's not going to hurt them in the bigger picture.
Yep.
Because I think they get back and start getting some energy. But they've got another big game coming up as well.
I was going to say, it felt like game of the season when they beat the Hawks in overtime on Thursday. They're both at it again this weekend in what hopefully will be another classic, and home court advantage in the finals is on the line here.
Yeah, and that game last Thursday
was excellent.
In Illawarra was the game of the season. Just high quality standard. Both teams, blow for blow, the best players stood up and pretty evenly matched teams. And now coming back to Kudos Bank Arena, big game. You know the Kings are, playing for pride and second spot. And there's a lot of passion between these two teams from the ownership, but the players and the fans and everyone. It's been there for a long, long time before the current ownership. So huge game. And as you say, we could see them in a 3-game series starting the following week. So this could end up being 5 games in about 2 weeks between these two clubs. And I was sort of hoping they'd play off in the grand final, to be honest. That's not going to happen now. But we will have one team from New South Wales in the finals.
It's going to be good. Time to go crystal gazing as we look ahead to round 21 of the NBL season. We bring in former NBL MVP Derek Rucker. D, you were in here with us last week in the studio and you absolutely jinxed yourself talking about that dreaded C word. How are you feeling?
I don't feel too bad, actually, Joe. Today is day 7, I believe. And Joe, thank you for the flowers and the chocolate that you did not send me. Hammer, I expected nothing from you because we know you're a man of no empathy or compassion. But here I am well and ready to do it.
Good to hear. We'll keep things moving very quickly because we've got a lot to get through. Looking at the current leaderboard, Hammer, 85. You're kind of on top. Director Dave's on 88, but as you know, he keeps the scores. I'm on 83. Derek and Maddie down on 80, so
I reckon
pretty much
Derek,
out of the running now.
Derek should not get the chance to even tip this week. Like, let's take his tips, but don't talk about the games. I got a message from Bet with Joel after your tips on the NBA saying, mate, you need a subscription. You need to start following him because you got a donut, mate, a big bagel when you were down here. Nothing.
All right, let's move on, please.
Melbourne and Cairns in action tonight. So we'll start with Thursday's game. It's Cairns hosting Sydney. Derek, who wins that one?
Well, Sydney took that L that I thought that they needed. Look, it took an outstanding effort from the JackJumpers in their game against Southeast Melbourne. Everything is alive, Hammer, for these 5 playoff spots. Fourth playoff spot, sorry. Sydney will make no more mistakes, though. They're going to pummel Cairns. Cairns showed a little bit of promise, but it's over for them, Hammer. Sydney by at least 20.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Hammer, Southeast Melbourne hosting Adelaide. This one's Friday night.
Well, Adelaide were really impressive against the Sydney Kings. I like what CJ Bruton's doing because he said, okay, let's just roll the dice with some of these young kids. And what they're doing is they're bringing energy. Massive win against the Sydney Kings. And on the other hand, Southeast Melbourne, they were good for a half, but just totally got outplayed by the JackJumpers in the second half. And a few question marks about them, but they've probably got enough to be able to get over the line.
You reckon they get it over the 36ers?
Yeah, just.
D, do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Adelaide, look, they are playing much better, but I think Southeast Melbourne will really want to play well in this game. But if it's a tight game, Hammer, Southeast Melbourne have no execution down the stretch.
Terrible.
Massive game to end Friday night, Derek. Perth hosting Illawarra. The Wildcats really need this one, but the Hawks are looking good.
I think we're inching towards history, Joe. I'm going to go on a limb here and say it. The Wildcats are in big danger, and a lot of it is going to depend on that guy right there, Vic Law. Is he going to be healthy enough to play? If he's only at 60 or 70%, I've got Illawarra trouncing them because they'll throw too many bodies at the Cats. And, Shane, that'll put a lot of pressure on the final game for Perth.
Oh, even if Vic Law plays, I've got the Illawarra Hawks beating them. They're just playing with confidence, a whole lot of togetherness. And listening to Damien Martin on the telecast, he spoke a lot about the defensive intensity that they needed. They come out with none of that, and they've really had poor starts. So they're playing some pretty average basketball right now. They've only beaten Cairns and New Zealand in their last 6 games at home, lost the other 4. So they're in a bit of trouble, the Wildcats.
So when Derek says that they're edgy on history here, he obviously means not making the finals for the first time in, 33 years. Do you genuinely think that Perth won't make the finals? Really?
I can't say it with any confidence. Like, things are trending against them, Joe. And I don't know, maybe we need to speak with Bet with Joel and see what his forecasting is like for the playoffs.
They're going to make the playoffs because they'll beat Southeast Melbourne in the last game. And depending what United do with their last game against Tassie, they've already got top spot sewn up. So whether they send a full team to Tassie or not, we'll see. But it's still unlikely that Perth will miss the playoffs. Yeah. They just won't do any damage once they get there. All
right, Hammer, you mentioned that game. Who wins it?
Which one?
Tassie, Melbourne.
Tassie? I'm going to go Tassie as an upset, only because they've got everything to play for. The whole of Tasmania are behind them. And Melbourne United, maybe they do rest a couple of players. They should rest a couple of players if they've got any niggles or anything like that. If not, I'm a believer that you go there, you play, maybe you spread the court time a little bit more. But I'm going to go with Tassie regardless.
Derek, Cairns are hosting Brisbane the next game. I know there's nothing on the line for that one, but who wins it?
Well, this is the Who Wants a Contract Next Season Cup. I've got Cairns winning it, Hammer.
I'm with you. They're playing with a whole lot of energy, and even with a couple of imports down, Keanu Pinder's been outstanding this year. He's playing like an import, so doing a good job. I think they'll win at home. They'll play with a whole lot of energy and passion.
All right, Hammer, we know the Breakers are massively depleted for their last couple of games. They're hosting the 36ers.
No. 36ers get that one. They've got a whole lot to play for with these contracts, whereas they're just limping to the line, New Zealand, and they lost the big fella. Yanni's gone overseas, and it's just been a tough year for him.
Yeah, shout out to Yanni though. Congrats to him, and hopefully something that will progress his career a little bit. Derek, Sunday, the massive one, Sydney and the Hawks.
I've got Sydney, Joe. I picked Illawarra to win the first game of this 2-game swing, but I'm going with the Kings now. Chase Buford would have them all ready to go. What, I'm not allowed to change my mind? Why are you shaking your head like that?
Because I'm saying...
He's saying you're jinxing them
You're
too.
jinxing the Kings, mate. You went against them last week and you were wrong, and now you've gone against the Kings and you'll probably be wrong again. It means that Illawarra's probably going to win.
We'll see.
All right, final game of the round, guys. Perth hosting Southeast Melbourne. Hammer, you alluded to it before.
Who we got? Perth, Southeast Melbourne. Oh, Perth probably. I mean, they have to win. They have to will themselves to a win, but they're going to have to go against the trend of the way they've been playing. I think they'll get it done. Derek?
Man, this is tough. I think Southeast Melbourne, depending on what's on the line, I think Southeast Melbourne get this. This is a game where Southeast Melbourne may not have to rely on any type of defensive proficiency. And if it just comes down to scoring, I think they can outscore the Perth Wildcats.
We are well and truly at the business end of the season. Finals just on the horizon. Gents, we'll check in on the leaderboard again next week. I'm excited to say that we are going in-depth thanks to 2K today with Tassie JackJumper Jack McVeigh. Jack, thank you so much for joining us on the show. 3 wins in a row, the big scalp over Southeast Melbourne over the weekend, a career-high 26 points for yourself as well. That must have you feeling really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It's a fun game. I mean, getting wins on the road is always enjoyable, and then having a personal best. It was getting 2 wins on a weekend. You can't ask for much more.
Mate, hard-hitting question to start with. Have you had a harder one-on-one battle than you did with me when you were about 14? I think I'd had about 6 or 8 beers barefoot in the driveway. You're trying to date one of my daughters. I said, you've got to beat me, mate, before you get that. And on the way out, mate, go on.
Yeah, I don't think I got the win. I remember not being able to get my shot off and I got a lot to learn. But here we are. We might have to have a rematch next time we see each other.
I'm done, mate. I'm done. I've retired now. None of that. Hey, congrats on your season. You're always going to have a great career. You bring that passion and energy. And some people wouldn't understand. That's just being you, mate, from a junior of watching it. And I've enjoyed you taking that and helping teams and the culture and the passion of teams you play with.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've always loved basketball. At its core, basketball is just, I think, one of the best things in the world, and I'm grateful every day I get to play that and do it as my job. So how can I not bring the energy when I get to go out there and shoot some shots and play some defense?
Well, your character and game has obviously really helped the JackJumpers in their first season. Can you describe the culture of the club?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Scott Roth has set the tone day one that you can't really step out of line. You're going to do it his way, and everyone's brought in great guys, and it's fun to show up to work every day when you got guys like Weeksy, Clint, to Fab, to everyone really. And it's just a fun thing to be a part of and to try and build something.
What about your role, mate? I love the way he's been able to use you in that small ball as a 4-man, being able to pick and pop, pick and roll. You did it beautifully on the weekend, just being able to pick where you wanted to be able to get to and score. And it's been really successful.
Yeah, it was funny because last year with Isaac Humphries going down, I was forced to step in and play some 4. And I was like, wow, this is kind of enjoyable. I like this. And then Scott Roth approached me in the off season, was like, I see you as a full-time 4. I think you can make the jump. And I like the sound of it. And I've learned a lot this year, watching a lot of film, like the art of the pick and roll, especially. And it's been really fun learning how to spread the ball and take advantage of pick and roll situations. I enjoy playing the 4 spot.
What specifically has Scott Roth done in terms of your individual development?
I think a lot of film, especially with defense. That was the one area that I always kind of lacked and knew I had to get better if I didn't want to be just the energy guy off the bench, which I didn't want to be. I wanted to be a starter and someone that helps win games down the stretch. And if you can't play defense, then you can't play more than 15 minutes in this league. And so doing that, we do a lot of drills and just really keep me accountable in training. And that's helped a lot.
Mate, talk to us about the buzz in Tassie. I was so excited for you guys to get a team back after so long out of it. How different is it to, say, Adelaide, that have always had a team? The excitement, the whole of Tasmania are behind you guys. It must be fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, they've been itching for a team, whether it was AFL or basketball, for a while, and you can tell they've fully embraced it. The amount of love we've gotten has been unbelievable. I mean, we've sold out every single game first season, and We haven't gotten out to the community as much as we would have liked, just with all the COVID and stuff. But yeah, they've embraced us, and you can't ask for much more from a state.
It feels like everyone on your roster, just given it was your first season in the league, has really had to step up. Has anyone on your team particularly impressed you?
Everyone. I didn't realize how well Clint moves without the ball. Obviously, Steindl's been someone in the league for a long time for a reason, but his ability to get other people's shots without touching the ball is unbelievable, and something I've definitely watched and been learning from. And it's hard for guys that they're getting run off that 3-point line every single game and still manage to go out there and make 3 or 4 and swing a game. It's an impressive skill.
Yeah, you sort of touched on it before with Scott Roth and his culture. He does a good job of putting everybody in the situation for them to be able to succeed. Steindl's the perfect person. You're the perfect person as well. Everyone seems to have just bought in, though, and understood it. Some teams you see, they take bad shots, bad possessions. Your team just doesn't do that.
Yeah, you got to get guys to buy in. And every team at the start of the season talks about it. You have the player meetings and how we're going to hold each other accountable. And this year, we've just kind of kept on doing it. Clint, I don't think gets enough appreciation for his leadership this year. He's a quiet guy, but he's taken that role and really embraced it and done things that I know he finds uncomfortable. And when your vets are the first ones to show up to the gym, it's hard for the young fellas not to follow.
What did the two Joshes bring? So you've got Adams and Majette, the two imports that you've got. They seem to have, again, as you say, taken on a bit of a leadership role, but just some of the sparks that they can provide for you guys. Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, I've learned a lot from Jet, especially like the pick and roll is something that I've loved learning from him. Just a really smart guy. And then obviously JA can do some things that we all love to see, like that block the other night was incredible. There's that photo and he's like 1.5 meters above me, a prisoner of gravity. And I was like, this is unbelievable. It's been awesome playing with those guys. It's just good. We don't want it to end. And hopefully that can be the case.
It was the time of the game for that block too. It was a critical time, even though it was a huge highlight as well. News Corp put out a poll the other day about the team you like beating most. What's been the most enjoyable win for you guys? Because you've had some really big scalps this season.
Yeah, it was really cool the other night. We said we beat every team this year, which we were happy about after beating Southeast. And I think for me personally, it's a great feeling getting a win in Perth. That place is always rocking. Bryce Cotton always hitting tough shots. So when you can get out of there, you always feel like you escaped and got a win. And that's a pretty tough feeling to beat.
Well, we've loved seeing you guys out there this season. It's not over yet either, so good luck for the rest in the finals push. Whatever happens, be absolutely proud of yourself. I know we've all been really proud watching on, and best of luck for you and the rest of your career as well.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good job, buddy. Well done.
Time for Points Made, thanks to Bet with Joel. Derek is back with us for this segment as well. Now, guys, we're obviously talking NBA. The Warriors beat Nuggets in Game 1 of their series. Steph Curry came off the bench in this one. Now, Hammer, you didn't necessarily agree with that. Tell me why.
Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing Derek's argument to this, but I'm a believer. When you're a superstar like that, you've got to come back and fill the role that you're going to normally fill. And then the bench players that were starting to get back into their role, getting to those substitution patterns. For me, Steph Curry looked like when he came in, he was a bit out of sorts. And then it was like he tried to hurry a little bit to get points before he came back out. I just didn't feel like he had any rhythm in the bigger picture. Doesn't make a lot of difference because it won't be long until he starts. But what do you think, Dee?
Well, we know now that Steph Curry is a very unique superstar, Shane. And like most Davidson guys, we're all about the team. We're selfless. We want to do what's best for the organization in the short term and in the long term. This me first stuff that comes from you Victoria basketball players.
It doesn't help their team. It doesn't help their team. It made them worse, him coming off the bench. There's no sacrifice. It was worse.
What was the score at the end of the game? How many points they win by, Joe?
In the bigger picture, it doesn't really matter. But it's not about playing for himself. It's about getting back into rhythm, because when it does count, and as much about the starters, the people that are starting while he is out need to get back into their role, because obviously Steph is going to start sooner rather than later, right? So I think the more that's embraced, the easier it becomes for everybody.
Look, you know what that Warriors culture is about. Like I said, it's a selfless place, and Steph is the leader of that. And right now, they feel that they're going with the hotter guys. You saw what Jordan Poole did yesterday. Now, the thing is, you can back that down from Jordan Poole, but now he has the confidence to go out there and know that he can dominate a playoff game. So from my perspective, that's a win for that organization. We know what Steph can do. And will Steph start game 2? Who knows, Shane? Look, they brought Klay Thompson back slowly as well. Now,
but it wasn't the playoffs.
Game 3, once they hit the road, is when I would definitely get Steph back into that starting lineup and start getting my crew back together.
All right, let's see.
16 points in 22 minutes, 5 of 13 from the field. They brought him back in late in the game as well, clearly just to help him try and find his feet as they progress through the playoffs. But 1-0 winners over the Nuggets there. Which NBA series, guys, has the greatest chance of there being an upset? So you've got, I don't know, Mavs and Jazz. Jazz are one up in that one. Nets and Boston for me is the one where you go, well, there's probably going to be an upset there potentially, but you talked about this before. You're like, where is the upset? But it's because everything's so skewed because the Nets were 7th coming into it.
Yeah, and it's not real with the Nets being 7th, is it? Because they had so many players out for so long. I still think Boston can win. I really like what they've done. And when you talk about togetherness and culture, Derek, that's what Boston's done. They've done it by committee. They've all bought in to be able to play a great style and play their roles. And the Nets have probably got more talent, could get over the line. But I just don't like the way they play the same way. Kyrie had 18 in the last quarter, but everyone's jumped on him online because they see him as being able to just dribble. Bit of Harden there about being able to make plays, whereas, the Boston team don't do it. Tatum's got to be the most underrated superstar in the NBA for me. He just keeps getting it done.
Well, Kyrie gave the Shane Hill middle finger salute today to the crowd in Boston. I thought you would have aligned.
Did he go the double?
Strong. Yeah, he went the double.
2, 1 each side. I can respect that.
That's not anything you should be respecting. Anyway, if Boston win this series, it's the favorite winning, Shane. Boston has been the better team all season. Look, Brooklyn has some asterisks. Kyrie didn't play, as we know. But talent-wise, I agree. They are so evenly matched. But the big difference is Boston's success comes off the back of a system, of a direction offensively, out of sound defensive principle. The Nets comes off that individual brilliance. And as we saw at the end of game 1, when that individual brilliance isn't there, when you have an off game, what do you go to ensure your team has success? And down the stretch, Brooklyn was found wanting. And in the end, Boston make the play and get the result. So getting back to the question, I've got Brooklyn as being the best chance to create an upset. And your favorite, Utah. Now, this one is tricky, too, because of the injury to Luka Doncic. Would it really be an upset if Utah were to win this series without Doncic playing 3-4 games, Hammer? Look, technically it is an upset.
No. I don't think so. I think one upset that I want to be able to talk about is the T-Wolves, though, because you didn't even think they were going to win the play-in game, mate, when you went 0 for 4 last week on the show. And not only did they win...
Those picks don't count. I was coming down with COVID from being down there in Sydney.
And not only did they win the game, and I thought Patrick Beverley went a little bit overboard in the celebration, but what that does too, his mindset just gives him some sort of belief of the way they play. He celebrated, but he was passionate, and they took that and went and bet Memphis. Now, people didn't think that could happen. That was a huge upset. Edwards had 36 points and 6 assists. Here's another guy that just doesn't care. They don't care who they're playing against. They're going to be able to make that happen.
No fear.
And Kat, he's bit soft but talented. I think he likes being around those sort of guys that don't care, that had a little bit of toughness around him. It makes him feel a bit better about himself as well. So they're a danger, the T-Wolves. I like what they're doing.
Well, they've got a few guys like that, Shane. They've got D'Angelo Russell, who has been known as a head case, but a guy who has the ultimate amount of self-belief in himself. They've got Pat Bev, who is just, an all-time uber antagonist. They've got Anthony Edwards. They've got a team that is talented and full of belief. Let me ask you this, Shane, though. Who do you like better as a player, Ja or Anthony?
Oh, I saw this one go around on Twitter. I mean, the obvious answer is Morant, but I'm going Edwards. I like Edwards.
They have so much charisma and talent. Like, I just love watching these guys play.
Yeah, I'm going Edwards. He's been great. So cocky too.
Yeah, good matchup, that one. The final game of the first round of games has just been completed. The Suns 11-point winners over the Pelicans. Not necessarily a surprise there. They should...
Too good.
If not sweep the series, get it done in 5 or 6. D, alrighty, thank you for that. We'll check in next week. Hopefully you're back and COVID-free at that point.
Thanks, guys. I'm feeling great after this show.
Playoff basketball is so much fun. Before we go, I just want to ask you about Brooklyn again. If you're Steve Nash, with reports that Ben Simmons is going to start training 5-on-5 the next couple of days, might be ready for game 4, 5, 6 of this series, would you bring him back?
100%.
Okay.
And you've got to bring him back. And it'd be different if it's a scorer. If it's someone's relying on hitting deep threes and needs their legs, then it's a little bit tough when you've missed the whole season. But what Ben Simmons does is what they need. He's a rebounder. He's a defender. He'll be that glue guy, great passer. And he doesn't shoot from further than 4 feet out from the basket. So I hope he comes back. He'll help them. And it'd be good to see the big fella back.
It's been a long time coming, so it would be great to see him back out there. That's all we've got time for show 101. Hammer, we made it. Thanks very much again to TCL Mobile, 2K and Bet with Joel. We'll catch you guys.
Send in your videos. Trick shots, TCL.
Hashtag TCL Trick Shot. We'll see you guys next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.